It feels good to be a Chelsea fan again.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Hasn't it been enjoyable today, this morning, this afternoon, listening to everyone wax lyrical about Raheem Sterling, Conor Gallagher, Cole Palmer, of course, dominating the back pages, Cole Palmer, for a man of the match performance. He won player of the match from the Premier League in Chelsea's 4-4 draw against Man City. And of course, Cole, there's ice, scoring the penalty at the end. That game is wild. It was completely insane. If you want my detailed thoughts on it and everything that happened, please do go see my previous upload, which is the complete breakdown of that game. And it's a game that you want to learn about, essentially, or you want to hear people's opinions about, surely. So do consider going to watch that. But today we're talking about Victor Osimhen. Of course, John Obi Mikel had him on his podcast. He spoke to him about Chelsea, coming to Chelsea. Caught Offside has written about strikers, the merry-go-round, Chelsea in contact for a striker. Nico Jackson, amidst all this, will be thinking, look, I'm trying my hardest here, 4 goals in my last 2 games, but we need to have the competition there. We need to. I also want to talk about Enzo Fernandez, who has quietly been brilliant, and I wanted to speak about him in response to Matt Law criticising him on his Twitter feed, which I want to contest. So thank you for joining me. Please do consider supporting the content by simply liking the video and commenting, sharing if you want to, but I welcome everyone to subscribe, and should you choose to do so, hit the bell. Let's get into it. First and foremost, well, first of all at least, a big congratulations to Cole Palmer, who, this kid, right, I call him Cole Palmer for a reason, because he is cool as ice. He has been called up to the England squad. Of course, this is in the wake of Maddison withdrawing with injury. I said he should be called up, I said I don't think Southgate will call him up, but I said he should be, and lo and behold, he has been. So big congratulations to him. Of course, he's been excellent for Chelsea this season. He scored 4 goals. Of course, they're penalties, but you still got to take them. Liam Twomey of The Athletic appropriately highlights that each penalty he's taken has been more high profile than the previous one, and each time he's come through with nerves of steel, the young 21-year-old. But, mate, like, he's registering assists, he's making progressive passes. I was looking at his creative stats on X value. I haven't actually got them to hand. I should have had them for this video, really. But yeah, very, very impressive per 90. He's quite literally the first name on the team sheet for Chelsea's attack, which is incredible, really. Understandably, everyone's waxing lyrical about him on Match of the Day. Like I said, the back pages are riddled with Cole Palmer headlines, and deservedly, he's got called up for this England squad. So us Chelsea fans over this international break can have something extra to look forward to, watching Cole Palmer hopefully make his debut for the England first team. We'll have to see if he comes off the bench. He won't start. I mean, unless it would be a big, big shock if he does. Really, really good. And, while we're on England and Chelsea good performance, I just quickly want to reference Conor Gallagher. Absolutely deserves his flowers. He's been incredible this season. And, he's not scoring goals or whatever, but he's just been so important. He's got a few assists. He's pressing and counter-pressing incredibly. He's doing really good defensive work, and he is going to make it incredibly difficult for Pochettino to choose a starting 11 after the international break, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Christopher Nkunku is going to return, and he remains, certainly on paper and theoretically, Chelsea's best and most Galactico-style attacker. Of course, winning the Golden Boot in Germany last season, and has just been a prolific goal scorer for the last few seasons. He will come into this Chelsea side. He's very versatile, which Pochettino likes as well. Who's going to be sacrificed? We will have to see. Maybe he'll be given a chance at striker if, Jackson has a quiet game. But is it the time to just keep playing Jackson while he's scoring? Even Shearer bigged him up. Poor Nico Jackson, because partially, I'm a little bit subject to this as well, but he He got slaughtered for... Matt Davis-Adams of the Straight Out of Common podcast from The Athletic said this on the Totally Football Show. He got slaughtered by everyone for scoring a hat-trick away at Chelsea's most bitter rivals. And when you talk about it like that, it's so harsh. But of course, context is required. And the manager himself said he should have scored 6. But yes, he scored a hat-trick, so whatever. It's good. He scored another goal today, massive against City. He'll be thinking, look, I'm going to do everything I can to stay in this side. You got Brewer coming on, making moves. It's going to be so hard. But to bring it back to the point, you've got Conor Gallagher and Cole Palmer, who both look undroppable at the moment. Tough, man. Yeah, I mean, we can't understate how important it's going to be and how exciting it's going to be with Christopher Nkunku coming back. He's tweeting like blue hearts or blue emojis with like, the hourglasses in like, I'm coming, boys. He's going to be an incredible introduction. And also, I feel so good that he's coming back into this team when we're not absolutely on our knees for goals, which we were but a few games ago. The last 2 games we've scored 8 goals. Context is required, but the fact remains we scored 8 goals in 2 Premier League games against a good Premier League opposition. So Nkunku's not coming in and we're like, as he's starting the game, like, score some goals for us, which is great. The pressure's off him. It makes sense. Now look, Matt Law tweeted about Enzo Fernandez, of course, the journalist for The Telegraph. Said he's yet to see an £105 million performance from Enzo Fernandez. You got social media accounts referencing Jamie Carragher's waxing lyrical about Enzo Fernandez, saying he's world class, the performance he put in against Liverpool and how good he is. He's amazing. But I wanted to show you this graphic from a Twitter account called DataMB, which references a data website. Enzo Fernandez this season versus the Premier League midfielders. And of course, this is per 90, the stats per 90. And his stats make for excellent reading. He's first for these 3 metrics, which are massive, by the way. Progressive passes. No one in the league has done more than Enzo Fernandez. Like, none of you are like, whoever plays for at the moment in the Liverpool midfield. I suppose like Szoboszlai or whoever's playing in there. He's played a lot of minutes. Not Rodri, Bernardo Silva. No one. It's Enzo Fernandez. He's first for progressive passes. He's first for through passes. He's first for forward passes. And then second for long passes into the final third. Second and third, just look at those metrics there. To still be the 3rd best in the league at something when you're still relatively new to the league. And lest we forget, in a struggling Chelsea side, or at least a transitioning Chelsea side, to maintain those metrics is nothing short of hella impressive. And this is not me having a dig at Matt Law. I love his work. I know he's friend of the podcast of London is Blue, that, mates of mine, they're really good. But, football is a game of opinions. Everyone's entitled to their own. But I think that's a little bit of a hot take from the Telegraph's finest journalist, Chelsea journalist, in Matt Law. And I wanted to just reference that as not a hit piece or a target of Matt Law, but for me thinking, okay, I disagree with that. And then finding a relevant stat that would dictate he's playing very, very well indeed. Just because he's not scoring like screamers or, whatever, making goal line clearances. And often the quieter players are the ones doing really well, Right, we're going to talk about strikers now. And again, this is probably going to be a small subject for Nico Jackson, who probably feels like he's doing everything he can. And also, like I said, the aforementioned Nkunku, who's probably looking at this team now with Sterling and Palmer and even Mudryk on the wide flanks going, the fact that they're not playing with a number 10. Well, looking at the midfield as well. Enzo, who we've just spoken about, Caicedo, who's been brilliant, by the way, and Gallagher, who's quietly got shouts for player of the season by many Chelsea fans, So you're not, as things stand, and quite rightly, understandably, especially the way we go at City with that midfield, you don't break up that midfield trio, so you don't play a 4-2-3-1, you play a 4-3-3, and then you're not playing a number 10. And if you're not playing a number 10 to Nkunku, he's probably thinking, I'm certainly not getting Palmer off the right wing, although I don't think he'd want to so much. I think he'd want to play on the left if he's out wide. He's like, well, I'm not playing a number 10, so I've got to maybe displace Nico Jackson here as a striker. Maybe. Obviously, he played as a striker for Pochettino in pre-season, Christopher Nkunku. Maybe the fact how Raheem Sterling, who, by the way, was mesmeric yesterday against his former side, that Sterling, of course, can go off the boil. He can. We all know it. And let's hope it doesn't happen, because when he plays so well, he's superb. But if he's going to go off the boil again, then maybe you play Christo on the left wing, because he's done that before. He's a right footer. He likes to run into that space. And then maybe you end up with a front three of Christo on the left, Nico down the middle still, and Cole Palmer on the right. Ooh, it's starting to get exciting, isn't it? With the options. And who knows? If Mudryk recognises his potential, he starts on the left, and Nkunku down the middle, Cole Palmer on the right. You know, last season at the end, Noni Madueke looked like our form attacker. Spare a thought for him. Anyway, John Obi Mikel, of course, has got a podcast. What a podcast he's got. The first 3 guests he's had: John Terry, captain, leader, legend. I mean, he's very much using his Chelsea phone book for the first 2. Then he got Super Frankie Lampard, which was an excellent one. I mean, both were great. And I've listened to both of those podcasts, but forgive me, I haven't yet listened to the Victor Osimhen one. But he had him on, and he's talking Chelsea-related stuff. So let's read some quotes here. So Victor Osimhen's talking about 2 jerseys growing up from the Premier League. He says one was Manchester United, which, you know, many people did, and one was Chelsea. Of course, there's the famous picture of Victor Osimhen wearing the Chelsea kit when he looks like a young teenager, maybe. Of course, Victor Osimhen is hot property at the moment, possibly the most desired available striker. I put that in inverted commas because we don't know if he's available. I mean, you know, I still wary because Napoli would charge an absolute ridiculous sum for him, because that's what they do. And also, like, I don't know, I think Victor Osimhen suits the Premier League far more than Lautaro of Inter, but Lautaro has just been in insane form the last 2 seasons. And, you know, you'd feel like in terms of spending loads of money on goals, you're tempted to spend money on the guy who's scoring more goals, right? Which is, of course, seems like the obvious solution. We did it with Lukaku. We've done it kind of with Nkunku, but it's different, I think. But Osimhen scored a lot of goals when, you know, Napoli won the Scudetto, the Serie A title. But he's not been in as good form long term. But he's more of a conventional number 9. He actually spoke about Chelsea, Victor Osimhen, this. He said, "We used to use my brother's phone to look at Didier Drogba comps on YouTube. I tried to learn 1 or 2 things from his game. Every time I would use my brother's phone or go to the guy's house to use a laptop to watch videos." So he's talking about Drogba directly rather than Chelsea in general. But then this is obviously a headline maker here. John Obi Mikel says to Osimhen this, quote, "Next season, I know you're going to come to Chelsea. I'm telling you, I'm going to be the agent to broker that deal. I'm going to make sure it happens. We are crying out for someone like you since Didier Drogba left the club." Of course, he's being Mikel's actually got banter and he's having a bit of fun here, to which Victor Osimhen apparently laughs in response. But yeah, he's desperate clearly for him to come to Chelsea and saying, "Look, you've just been talking about Drogba. You know, you used to watch his comps. You can be that guy at Chelsea now. You know, big club. You earn loads of money. London, da 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 da." And you know, obviously, when they filmed this, it could have been before both Tottenham and Man City games, the way these podcasts work. But he will be looking at Chelsea thinking, this team is trending in the right direction. Ooh! Well, sticking on striker talk, Mark Bruce of Courtside has written an exclusive here. Chelsea in constant contact over world-class forward transfer. Constant contact. Ooh, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham are all likely to make strikers a priority for the January transfer window, especially, I mean, Arsenal, yeah, Man United spent a load of money on Højlund, who, I know he hasn't scored a Prem goal yet, he does look good. I know people are bantering him saying Thiago Silva's got more Prem goals than he, and yeah, it's fun, but the truth is he looks good. I think he looks good. I think he's just a victim of whatever Manchester United is at the moment, and he's a young guy as well, you know. So they've spent a lot of money on a striker. Arsenal, I mean, they haven't really got a proper new 9. Nketiah's a striker, but they're playing Trossard up there. They played Havertz up there, like we've fallen victim to. Gabriel Jesus is a striker, but he's a different striker, isn't he? He likes to drift wide. He's not a 9-9. And of course, Tottenham need to replace Kane. They're playing Son down the middle, which has generally worked until recently, but you can understand. Sources with a close understanding of Ivan Toney's situation at Brentford have informed Court Offside that the player's entourage has been in contact with both Chelsea and Arsenal, with the England international seemingly a strong option for both clubs this winter. Now, we know Tony loves Arsenal. He's spoken about them publicly, like he loves to watch them, and probably thinks, well, they're in the Champions League, they're ahead of Chelsea. I'm not old, but I'm not young. If you can just get into the Champions League quicker and a team... This is me speculating here, by the way. He probably feels like, if I can just play in a Champions League team now, rather than a team that's in progressing or in the process or in transition, then I'm not wasting like my prime years. That's what I'm thinking. Despite some reports stating Tony could cost anywhere between 80 to 100 million pounds, Court Offside understands there is a realistic expectation at Brentford that they might get closer to 55 million pounds. Wow, okay, suddenly you're listening. 55 million pounds for a guy who scored 20 Premier League goals last season for Brentford. And he is a striker. We've spoken about Osimhen being, more suited than maybe Lautaro. Make no bones about it. Ivan Toney is a centre forward. With some negotiation at Arsenal, hope to negotiate that price down even further. Whoa, that is insane. Chelsea, meanwhile, are admirers of Tony, but there has been some indication that they have cooled their interest somewhat. With the Blues hoping to make Napoli striker Victor Osimhen a priority instead, though this might require waiting till next summer, as his current club remain determined to keep him, understandably. But yeah, it's different with Tony because he's been banned. He's not been playing with them this season. They've looked pretty good with Mbano and Visser up front, though both of them are going to AFCON, which will leave them pretty short. Chelsea did eventually manage to break Benfica down last January, however, when they paid big money for Enzo Fernandez, even though it seemed unlikely at various points that the Portuguese giants would sanction a deal, of course, mid-season. One factor in Chelsea's favour as well is there have been no progress over a new contract for Osimhen at Napoli, with the Nigeria international increasingly leaning towards a new experience. Yeah, and I've said this before on the channel many times, I'll say it again, 12 months and 18 months, there's only 6 months different. I think the optics and the scenario would just command so much more money. Especially because when you've got 18 months, almost always that means you're buying them mid-season, so it comes with a mega premium. Even if a player is really good, at 12 months, if you don't sell him, it's like a friggin' crisis, bro. Because within 6 months, they can negotiate with a new clubs, legally, so that, in 6 months' time, he could negotiate his free transfer to Chelsea and a signing on fee, and it's a crisis. It's a crisis for Napoli. So they need to sell him at 12 months, and if there's not a bidding war, if someone might be like, oh yeah, 50, 60 million, but you might get 100 million if you sell him 6 months before that, which is just absolute you have to do it. So it's something that you have to consider. So Chelsea have been in constant contact over Osimhen, so it's clear they are eager to make this ambitious deal work. Though with Nicholas Jackson's form also improving recently, it might be the case that the West London Giants feel, and that's us, the West London Giants, that's the name after Todd Bowley gets his way. The West London Cowboys feels like it's worth waiting until the summer to secure their top target, instead of moving for just Ivan Toney in January, because that might be more attainable. So, of course, Tottenham are also looking for a striker as well after losing Harry Kane, who, by the way, we thought he would, but he is absolutely eating the Bundesliga alive. He's got 17 goals in 11 Bundesliga games. He is making a mock. He's so good, Kane. And to be honest, I know, Haaland's a ridiculous finisher in the box. He's ridiculous. It does make you think last season, of course, the season before was when Man City tried to buy Harry Kane. Literally, they thought they had him and Kane sort of was pushing for it. But it makes you think last season, if they had Harry Kane, I think he would have done just as good as Haaland. who knows? Like maybe a bit better. Or maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe some more. Certainly more assists. He would have got more assists. It's just mad, really. Yeah. Anyway, look. The big news here is like Chelsea are in constant contact with Osimhen, and they want to get this done. And it's only really Nico Jackson now that are making them think, I don't know. But this is an exclusive from Caught Offside, and it's very, very exciting indeed. It's been a long video today. Let me know what you think. There's always stuff to talk about with Chelsea, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notifications icon when you do, so you get notified when I upload, so I can serve you up with this Chelsea news, which I'm always so happy to do. And I look forward to seeing you back here, friend, very, very soon. Peace.